pop it on record as well. So here's what I want you to do first. Take your ball. We're going to do what we did last time and just roll out the bottom of the foot. I think this is a really good one. Okay, so we're going to be looking at kind of rolling through this section of the foot. We're going to stay off kind of the fat pads. It's just this middle section where the arch is. You're just going to kind of roll from toes down to the heel. Put a little bit of pressure into it as you roll through. And if you find an area that's a little bit nasty, that's kind of quite tight and painful, then just work into that area for a little bit. Again, if you find an area that's a little bit uncomfortable, then just stick on it for a little while. Right, let's change sides. Good. Again, if you find a kind of sore spot, just stick on it for a little bit. Work into that area. Okay. So what we're going to do next is get a bit of mobilization to the toes and the feet. So take a seat, and I want you to get a finger in between each of your toes. Okay. And then from there, just kind of get a stretch, move them around, kind of mobilize them a little bit. It's quite common that we wear really restrictive footwear, and our toes kind of lose a lot of their movement. Okay, right, we'll change sides. So swap the legs over. Get a finger in between each toe. and then mobilize and stretch those toes out. So just move it through a range of motion, pulling it into extension and flexion. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do a bit of a calf stretch. Our first calf stretch we're going to do. I want you to go into a kneeling position, and this is where you take your kettlebell or whatever you've got, place it on top of your thigh, and then rock forward, let that weight drop a little bit. Keep the heel on the floor, so your heel should be, if I do this sideways, heel should be on the floor, and you use the kettlebell or whatever you've got just to apply a little bit more force than you could before, okay? You can do this without any kind of weight, and then just move through it a couple of times, okay? So get to the end range, and then pull back a little bit, end range, pull back. I want to mobilize those ankles a little bit. Try and keep that heel on the floor. Okay, and we'll change sides. Good. Pop that to the side. Now I'm just going to work on the feet just a little bit more. What I want you to do, from where you are, we're going to learn a little bit of control. I want you to try and raise your big toe up and down 10 times. Once you've done that, see if you can keep the big toe on the floor and raise all of the other toes 10 times. Good. Now, once you've done that, we're going to learn a little bit more foot control. Toes facing forward. I want you to come up onto your toes. You're going to flare your ankles out to the side, back to the center, and down, okay? Try and control it all the way through the movement. If you need to hold on to something for balance, then do. We're going to do 10 in total. Oh, lost my balance then. Good stuff. Cool. All right, guys, we're going to roll out the calves a little bit more. So take a seat. What I want you to do is take your massage ball and work into the kind of inside of your calf there, okay? So just here where it gets a bit squishy, it can become a little bit tight and nasty, so we're just going to work into that area. If you find a tight point, then work on that a little bit more. Okay, and we'll change sides. So it's working into that muscle. Again, if you find any tight points, then just work into it, that little one section. Stay within your comfort levels. Okay. So what we're going to do next is work on the outside. So you've got a couple of choices. You can either do the same as you just did and pushing the ball into it. I find that a little bit harder to do. So what I do is I kind of put the ball on the floor. There's a bone, kind of a bony point there. You want to avoid that and go underneath just on where the muscle is. And from there, you're going to push your leg down onto the ball, okay? And these are some of the muscles that help to support the ankle. And we're going to do a minute on each side. Good. And then we'll change sides. So again, if you have any trouble finding the spot we need to be on, just give me a message and I'll help you out. But just so there's that kind of bony nodule there and work just underneath it, there's a bit of muscle, and that's where we're putting the ball. Okay, and then we're going to work on the other side. So we'll change sides there. Just start my timer again. Again, if you find an area that's a bit uncomfortable, then just put a little bit of pressure into it, and it should ease up after about 20 seconds. Okay. So, last bit before we move up the leg, I want you to work on just the front here. So your shin bone's there, we're not going to work on that. If you move just to the outside, it's like really tough muscle just here. And if we get near the top, that can be a point that's quite nasty for most people. It's also an acupuncture point. So, interesting fact there. So I'm going to kind of lean on it here. So I'm going to show you this from the side. Oh, if I scooch around. So I'm sort of putting my body weight on and pressing that into the ball. Okay. I'm just going to do a minute on each side. All right, we'll change sides there. Sit, guys. Good stuff. Now, what I want you to do is take your towel, whatever you have with you, into a lunge, pop the leg out straight, wrap the towel around the foot, keep the knee straight for this one, okay? It's actually a different stretch to when you bend the knee. And then just give that a pull until you feel it stretch, and just hold that. All right, we'll change sides. Okay, right, we're going to work on the hips a little bit now, okay? So I want you kind of into a push-up or into kind of all fours position. You're going to drop your right leg back, take your left leg and place it next to your left hand, okay? And then all I want you to do is just kind of rock into it until you feel it stretch. And if you can, just kind of shuffle your foot forward and lean into it. Good. Now, if you want to increase the stretch, kind of push your leg away a little bit. Good. Now, once you've been there for a few seconds, see if you can drop to your elbows. If you can't, it's totally fine. And back up. Right, we're going to swap sides. Right foot near the right hand. Rock forward into it. Okay, kind of push the leg away, increase that stretch a little bit. Okay, now see if you can drop down to your elbows. Good. Come back up and then bring that leg back. Now what we're going to do, I want you standing all the way up, get your feet about shoulder width apart, toes facing as far forward as you can, but they might have a little turnout, and drop into a deep squat. Okay, now what I want you to do, I'm just going to raise my screen up so you can see me a little bit more. Get your elbows in between your knees and give them a gentle push outwards. Okay, if you can, get your toes facing forward a little bit more. For me, it gets to a point where I can't. And then just a gentle push out there. Try and sink deep to the bottom. Should be sinking your bum down. Okay, just a gentle push on the knees there. Good, and come up. Shake the legs out a little bit, just in case they're a little bit tired. And then we're going to drop back into that squat. Again, elbows between the knees and just pushing them out gently. Now from here, I want you to put your left hand on the floor and rotate up to the ceiling and back down. And we're going to do that 8 times on each side. Good. We'll change sides when you've done your 8. Good stuff. And then just take a breather, drop onto your knees. Okay, good stuff. Right, so I want you to either take your foam roller or your ball, and we're going to roll out the glutes a little bit. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to take a seat on my roller. I'm working on my right side. My right leg goes over my left, and then I work into the outside of my hips. You can do this with the ball as well. It'll just be a little bit nastier. I'm going to do a minute on each side. Let me just start my timer there. That's it, guys. And we'll change sides. That's it, guys. Good stuff. Cool. Right, so this next one, what we're going to do, we're going to get the side of the leg on the roller. You're going to put your other foot over the top and flat on the floor, and that means you can kind of regulate how much pressure you put on. Lie over the roller, and then just gently roll up and down the outside of the leg. Okay. And if you turn into it a little bit, you can get the quadriceps a little bit more. If you turn away, you get the hamstrings a little bit more. I'm going to do a minute on each side. Might be a little bit uncomfortable. Try and stay within your pain tolerance. That's it, and we'll change sides. Good. Well done, guys. All right, so what we can do next, a bit of a stretch on those hips. So you find yourself in a lunged position, get your right leg forward, and then walk it into the center. Drop down the outside of that leg, and then push your left leg back. And if you kind of rock that way, you should feel it all in this hip. And we'll change sides there. Great. So next, I want to lie on your back. Wrap your towel around your foot. Pop your other leg down. And you're going to pull into a hamstring stretch there, and you should feel it at the back of the thigh. Avoid the temptation to bend the knee, that's cheating. Keep it straight. We're going to hold that for a good minute each side. And change sides, guys. So swap it over. Go on to the left or the opposite, whatever you did before. And let's go. Good. And then lower that down. Well done, guys. Cool. All right. Next, we're going to work on the hip flexors a little bit. Get something just to cushion you and pop that on the floor. You can use a sofa or a wall works for this. And you're going to place your foot on the sofa, drop it down to the cushion, and then push the hips forward until you feel it stretch. It's going to be quite an intense one just at the front of the thigh. If you need to, you can grab hold of your foot and just pull it up a little bit more. Good. And we'll change sides. Good, that's it, guys. Right, up to your feet. Now, here's what we need to do. Take a big, wide stance, okay? Don't contract the quads, it'll just make it worse. And you're gonna sink down, touch the floor, and walk out, okay? You're then gonna walk back towards yourself and place your hands the other way. Okay. And forward again. Good. See if you can let the feet out a little bit further. Back towards yourself. Hold for a second. Okay. Now you're going to drop your elbows down to the floor if you can, and then walk them in as close as you can to your body. Hold that there. Good. And come up. Awesome. Well done, guys. So, just a little bit more to finish. We'll do some single leg balance work. Only a little bit. I want you to come onto one leg and just hold that there. You're going to kick it back and hinge at the hips. Okay? Then bring it back. Now, what I want you to do is drop your hips through. Okay, so if you're on your right leg, you're going to drop your hips to your right and then pull it back. And we're going to do that 5 times. Good. And once you've done your 5, I'll let everyone finish. Come on to the opposite leg. You're going to kick that one back. Okay. And back up. And you drop that hip through again and up 5 times. Good. Right, so this one, let's go back to our first leg. You're going to kick the leg back, open up the hips, and then try and rotate up towards the ceiling, okay? I'm just going to do 3 on each side, so alternating sides, 6 in total. And when you've done, just take a seat. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.